Welcome back to All This Math. This is Professor Parker. Please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Please hit the like button, like the video so we can get into the algorithm even more. Share this video with somebody. And if you have any questions about anything I do up here, please put your questions in the comments. Also put your comments in the comments. All right, now let's read the problem, see what it says. All right, it says after a 20% discount, a car was $12,590. All right. What was the original price? What was the original price? So I think I'm gonna do this a couple different ways, right? I think I'm gonna do this a couple of different ways. I'm gonna do it one way. We're gonna get the answer. Then I'm gonna go back. We're gonna talk about it again. We're gonna do it a different way. The first way I want to attempt is this. I want to show you what a general formula you can use whenever you see a question like this. When there's a discount, there's a discounted price, and you're trying to find the original price. Think about this formula. Now, original, let's call that OG. OG stands for original. We got original price minus the discount, which is a dollar amount. The original price is a dollar amount. The discount is a dollar amount. Is going to be equal to the sale price. All right. Now, in this particular problem, the sale price is $12,590. Right. Now, the OG price we don't know. So let's use a variable to represent that. Let's call that P for price. All right. Now, what are we subtracting? The discount. The discount is an actual amount, right? How do you find a discount? If you know, think about that for a minute. How do you figure out a discount? If you know the discount percentage, like we do, we know the discount percentage is 20%, right? So we know that, right? You know the discount percentage is 20%. So if we want to know that, all you got to do is multiply 20% by the original price. 20% times the original price. Now, we don't know the original price, but we can still represent it though, right? We don't know it yet, but we can still represent the actual discount. So you convert 20% into a decimal by taking 20, dividing it by 100. That's how you convert a percentage to a decimal in any situation. You take whatever the percent is, in this case it's 20, you're going to divide it by the number 100. You don't divide by 10, you don't divide by 1,000, you don't divide by 40, 50, none of that. You divide by 100, right? Because percent means out of 100. That's what the word actually means. All right. So it's going to be 0.20, right, times the original price. That's how you find the discount amount, right? So to find the discount amount, if we knew the original price, we would take 20% of, and in math language, the word of means multiply. So 20% of the OG price, or the original price, which we say in is P, right? In case anybody missed that, I'm using the variable P to represent the original price. So the original price minus the discount is going to be equal to the sale price. What's the sale price? $12,590. They give us that. So we got $12,590. So in order to do this problem this way, we need to know how to do a little bit of algebra, right? Just a little bit of algebra, nothing too crazy, right? We got to combine like terms, right? We got 1P, because a lot of times when we're doing math, the way it's written, it's like how we use slang, no matter what part of the country you might be in. Every part of the country got its own slang, right? And in some parts use the same slang, right? That's used in other parts of the country. So 1P is the same thing as P, but you got to know that even though there's no coefficient written in front of the variable P, there's an invisible one there, or it's understood. What's understood don't need to be said. What's understood don't need to be written. We just understand that that's what it is. So it's really 1P. Now, if I got 1P and I'm subtracting 0.20P, that's 1 minus 0.2, or $1 minus 20 cents. What's a dollar minus 20 cents? 80 cents. That's 0.80. So we combine these two and we get 0.80p, which is equal to 12,590. So 0.80p is equal to 12,590. So now I got the variable in one place, because before we had the variable in two different places. And that's a challenge for us. We got to fix that. We got to do something about that, right? We need to have the variable in one place if we want to solve for the variable, right? So 0.80p is equal to 12,590. I want to isolate p by itself, so I need to get rid of something. I got to get rid of this coefficient. 0.80 is the coefficient of p. So how do you get rid of it? You got to do the opposite operation. But hold up. In order to do the opposite, I got to know what's going on right now. So what is the 0.80 doing with the P in the first place? It's multiplying it. 0.80 times P is what that means. That's what that means. We got to understand the language of math. When you look at a math problem, you got to know how, when we deal with math, we got to know how to read the math, speak the math, and write the math. Read, write, and speak. We got to know how to do them three things with different types of math problems. So I got to do the opposite of multiplication. And what's the opposite of multiplication? It's division. That means we got to divide this by 0.80. Also, when we do algebra, which we're doing right now, we're always balanced. It's all about balance, right? It's like we want to be as balanced of a human being as we can be, right? We want to be balanced. In the math teaches us to be balanced. Algebra teaches us to be balanced. Because if I divide by 0.80 on the left-hand side, I need to divide by 0.80 on the right-hand side. So I do this, put that right there. 0.80 divided by 0.80, that's going to be 1 and 1. 1p over 1, again, it's like slang. Instead of saying 1p over 1, just say p. We don't need to say 1p over 1. Just say p. Put your equal sign. Now, for this, I'm going to use a calculator for this because what this is asking us is to identify how many times can 0.80 fit into 12,590. Meaning how many times can 80 cents fit into $12,590, right? How many times, or how many 80-cent increments, right? How many 80 cents can fit into $12,590? So I'm gonna break out the calculator for this one. 12590. See, always keep a calculator on you. Try not to use your phone calculator because your phone can be distracting, right? You know what I'm saying? Because, next thing you know, like you try to use your phone for the calculator on your calculator app. Next thing you know, you get a text message from somebody. Now you distracted. You get an Instagram notification, a TikTok notification, or something like that. Right? Now you're distracted. Just use one of these. Use one of these. Tune out the distractions. Keep your phone over there somewhere. All right? 12,590 divided by 0.80. 15,737.5. So that means the original price was 15. Now this says 15,737.5. Make it look like money. That don't look like money. How you make it look like money? You should have 2 digits after the decimal point. If you got any digits after the decimal point, you should have 2 digits after the decimal point. So that means you put a 0 after that. Boom. $15,737.50. That was the original price. That was the original price. The original price was $15,737.50. If I took 20% off of that, right? 20% of this, which is also 1/5 of this, right? In dollars, and I subtract, I'm gonna end up with 12,590. That's my sale price. Go back to the original equation. The OG price, $15,737.50 minus 20% of $15,737.50 should equal the sale price, right? Let's check our work though. Let's check our work. Because how I know it's right? You gotta check your work. So 15,737.50. Now, what's 20% of this? Go back to the calculator. Again, 0.2 is the same thing as 20%. 0.2 times the original price. 15. Hold up, made a mistake. There we go. 737.5. $3,147.50. $3,147.50. Now, if I subtract this from that and I get 12,590, that means my answer is right. If I don't, that means either my work is wrong somewhere up here or my check is wrong somewhere. All right, so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to subtract this from that. So I already had this in my calculator. Let me give you a calculator trick real quick. I already had this in my calculator. So what I do is I hit the positive negative button to make this a negative number, right? So I don't got to hit clear and then start over from the left-hand side. I can just make this negative and then hit the plus sign, because if this is negative, adding that to 15,737.5 is the same thing as doing 15,737.5 minus this. It's the same thing. Little tricks of the trade. That's all it is. There you go. 12,590. 12,590. All right. So that's that. So that's one way. I told y'all we was gonna do this a couple ways, right? Now that's one way to do it. All right. That's using algebra, using a formula, right? Setting up an equation and then solving for the variable p, right? I chose to use p. You can use any letter you want. It don't matter. Use the first letter of your name. It don't matter. Whatever you're trying to do. All right. So now, what if I did it another way though? What if I'm looking at it more from like a common sense standpoint? What if I'm like, I don't know, let me use a different color. Um, After the 20% discount, a car was 12,590. What was the original price? So let's think about it. Like we trying to find out the original price. The original price is 100%, right? The original price is the 100%, right? And then you take 20% off, what you left with? If you start out with 100% as your original price, if you take 20% off, what's 100% minus 20%? That's 80%. So that means that this 12,590 represents 80% of the original price. The original price is 100%. Let's write that over there, right? Now, what we want to know is we saying like, well, this amount is 80% of what number? So like it's almost like asking this, like 12,590 is 80% of what number? Yeah, that's the hashtag. That's a number symbol too. 12,590 is 80% of what number? So like we could translate this into a little quick equation, right? 12,590. The word is means equal sign. 80%, convert that to a decimal. That's 0.80. The word of means multiply. What number means that's a variable. Let's use P again, right? So now we got 12,005. Look, we're gonna end up with the same thing. Same thing, because we got to get rid of the 0.80. 0.80 divided by 0.80. This marker about to be dead. So we still gonna end up with the same answer. But I want you to think about that though. Like when you see a problem like this, right? The original price is 100%. It's a 20% discount. So that means the sale price is 80%, right? So you try and find the original price. The original price is the what number? The way I wrote it right there. All right. So just in this other way, there's even more ways to do this problem. But I just wanted to show you a couple ways, and you should you should practice with these types of problems, right? Because this is so people always make the complaint. Why we got to learn? They sit in math class and be like, why I got to learn this? Why do I need to know this? How's it gonna help me? Like this is real life math, right? Somebody buying a car. People get got every day because they don't understand the algebra that's involved in finance and consumer science and consumer math and business math. They don't understand the math. They don't understand the algebra. So they get taken advantage of. All right. So if you're one of them people sit in a math class and you want something relevant, all of this stuff is relevant, right? Use algebra to figure stuff out, right? You know, if you don't understand percentages, it's very easy to take advantage of people, right? Because people be out here thinking that like 20% means $20 off. The only time 20% means $20 off is if you're talking about an original price of $100. That's the only time 20% is going to mean $20 off. If you're talking about $200, 20% ain't $20. 20% should be $40. So imagine you that person and you about to go buy some sneaks, right? But that cost $200 regular price, and the sticker says, or the price tag says they 20% off. You out here thinking 20% means $20. So you expecting for it to be $20 off. Let's say that the owner of the store knows that you don't know the math, and then they ring you up for 180. You were supposed to save $40. Them sneaks were supposed to be 160. You just got, and you ain't even dig it, right? And you be the same person that sit in class, right? Sit in class mad, frustrated, disrupting the class, getting mad at the teacher, talking about when we go, I gotta know this, right? You gotta know this so when you go to the store to buy some shoes, you don't get got. That's why you should know this, right? And don't say, oh well, the y equals mx plus b, that's different. I don't need to know that, but I need to know this. It's all interrelated. It's all interrelated. And all of it serves to help develop your mathematical fluency. All of it, right? Helps to serve to make you more confident, whether it's dealing with percentages, whether it's dealing with fractions, whether it's dealing with solving systems of equations. Just doing math makes you more mathematically inclined. So it ain't no math that's irrelevant. All the math is relevant because it all works together, right? It's a large system of different rules and topics, right? That you can use to help to increase your confidence and increase your level of understanding of mathematics. All right. So yeah, so you see a problem like this, or you're in a situation like this, you can figure some stuff out. All right, figure out the original price if you know the sale price and you know what the discount was. All right, I just put you on. Now go practice. Make sure you like the video, share the video with somebody. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you ain't subscribed already. All right, if you still got questions, that's cool too. Questions are cool. Put your questions in the comments. All right, I'll see you on the next video.